But that's the way this thing's shaping up. I think these back winders only go down a certain amount to keep the kids off of it, from jumping out. I don't know. I think that's the way they did them. That'd be a good place to put shocks in it now. But this is, I'll leave it open. I don't want to pop it. I'll tell you what, I'll tell you the history. Hey, they both fell out. Oh, they're eyeballers. I'll put this here somewhere and tell you the history. My history of the Fairlanes. Not that you want to know, but I'll tell it to you anyway. Back when I was a wee kid, actually I wasn't wee, yeah, I was this big. My dad worked at the Ford garage when he was a young sprout, younger than I am now, and this guy put a 289 high performance engine, his daddy was a dentist, in a Fairlane, a black 63 Fairlane Sport Coupe, which this is not. And then he drove it around, done some stuff, and then he went to Vietnam. But right before he went to Vietnam, he went and traded it in on a pickup for his mom and dad. So he went to Vietnam, and that car sat at the Ford lot at the very front. They was wanting like, I don't know, $2,000. That's what the engine cost to have them put it in there, and it sat there and it sat there and it sat there. Of course, there's all new. It was a '63, and this is probably in '70, and so everybody had Torino fever and all that other stuff, and they didn't want no Fairlane sitting there. So they didn't sell it, and it moved back to the second row in the lot, and then finally it moved back to the dog lot, which is the back row, which I always called the dog lot, and I don't know who told me that, but I learned it. And my dad was working there, and he offered them an amazingly cheap price, and they refused it. And then after another 6 months, they took his offer, and he brought her home. It had something wrong with it. That's why they couldn't sell it. The input bearing on the 4-speed was bad, and Dad fixed it. He put a new input bearing on it, and he drove it for years and years and years. And I would admire this car. Me and my mom would take it up in town, and we'd race it from stoplight to stoplight. There's a bunch of them when we lived in Illinois. And Mom would let me shift, and she was tiny, but she would drive that son of a gun, and we would make everybody else just hump up with that little light car and that real hot engine. So after a few tickets, Daddy took it back, and this is a long story. I want to tell you that was a story, and then one more. Me and him was in his car, the Sport Coupe, and we were racing my mom, and they had just bought a '70 Torino. This had to be in '74 or '5. It was a really nice car, and it was fast. They're going down this long stretch, and Daddy pulled out to pass, and he shifted her down into third and took off, and Mom floored that Torino, and they was going neck and neck, and the headlining come down out of the Fairlane, because we had the windows open, no air conditioning then, and it wrapped around Dad's face at, I don't know, 1,000 miles an hour, I don't know. And Dad said, "Stevie!" So I got his head out from under that. He looked kind of like, one of them Iranians at that time. I didn't know. And Mom outrun us because of that. Okay. Now, moved out. He got rid of that. He put that engine in that Mustang that I bought. And then he didn't like the Mustang, so I bought the Mustang. And anyway, that's where the car, and the car went to somewhere, to a salvage yard or crushed or something. The original car that we had. And then as soon as I moved to Arkansas, I found a bunch of, I would say, hippies, and they had just about the same thing. A black 63 Sport Coupe, and it was sitting like this. And the windows were spray painted black. It didn't have tint, it was spray painted black. And it had curtain rods for shifting things. And I found out later that none of the back brakes was even on, even in the hubs. It just had front brakes. So anyway, I bought that car and I kept it for 30 something years. And when I got hurt at work, I'd go to the doctors and they was trying to find out what's wrong with me, and they said I had, they thought I had ALS because I had a lot of muscles, and my neck just touched my shoulders like this, and boy, I just had big arms, and my legs were that big around, and I've melted to my size now. And I stayed sick all the time, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to fix my car, my Fairlane. And rather than let it sit out and ruin, I sold it. Because I didn't know if I was going to be here in a year or 6 months or a week. And rather than let it sit out there and ruin, I thought more of it to sell it, and it's beautiful now. The guy fixed it up. It's beautiful. It wasn't nothing hardly wrong with it. And I had a ton of parts, enough parts to build it 3 times over. Had a 30-something year supply of parts. So I sold it. And now I'm happy to tell you that the good Lord has given me more health than I had. I've been doing stuff for 4 days in a row. And I am so thankful, thank the good Lord, that I've been doing stuff for 4 days in a row. And for me, hard stuff. I'm just getting out of the bed. It was tough, but thank the Lord that He loves me and He's given me this health. And that's why I went and got me another Fairlane. Couldn't find a Sport Coupe, but this is just good enough, and it's just rotten enough to be able to afford it. And so that's why I bought this Fairlane, because we've had Fairlanes all my life, and now that I'm doing better, and y'all's prayers are working wonders, I love you for it. Now that I'm doing better, I may get that done. I may live to do that. I live to do my Morse Minor. And this will be going down the road too. But if y'all find anything for this, let me know and I'll send you some money. Because I'll be looking for parts, and I'll be gathering up parts for it. And it's going to be, unless I get bad again, this is going to be fixed. And my plans are to make her black like she was. And I don't know if the small block's going in here or that old 428 is going in here. I hate to cut it. I hate to cut cars up. I used to hate to put an antenna on a car because I hate to drill a hole in a car. And I know that's stupid because cars don't have feelings. I'd have found out if the car had feelings because I'd have whispered and talked to them, and they're just metal and steel and rubber and evidently rust. So I shouldn't be that way. Maybe I'll get over it and I'll cut this thing up and make something strange and stupid with it. But anyway, I love y'all, and that's a big long story. But y'all kind of wanted to do it, and I wanted to tell y'all about it. So get excited. I'm excited. You just wait till I get a hold of Harold. He'll be beautiful. He'll be red. He'll have fins like this one. And it'll be the only one in captivity. I've never seen another Harold in America. I know they're here, but I haven't seen one in Arkansas, that's for sure. All right. Bye-bye. Love ya.